Finally, a business show that isn't
boring.
This is Get a Grip Business Radio. Here again, your host, Paul Montelongo.
Welcome back, Paul Montelongo, Get a Grip Business Radio here in Las Vegas. Live sunny afternoon in Las Vegas, AM 1230. KLAV in Las Vegas. Listen to us live streaming on the internet, paulmontelongolive.com. I've got some tweets and I've got some Facebook messages, and one of those we'll answer in a moment here, and that is, does this hypnotherapy stick? Is it permanent? But before we go to that, the sixth myth of selling is sales is a dead-end career with little promotional opportunity. I can't tell you how many people I hear that say, I'm just not a salesperson. Sales are not for me. I just can't do sales. It's like they go into this whole idea of it, they're with fear, right? And that it's not the opportunity for them.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's also tied in with people have this mindset that they don't like salespeople. They don't like being sold. So therefore, they don't want to be one of those people.
Right. The best thing that I can tell you on that is, look, we're all selling all the time. We're selling an idea. We're selling a concept. Some are selling widgets. Some are selling services. Right. If you're a parent and you tell your children they need to be in bed at 10 o'clock, you're trying to sell them on the idea that they better be in bed at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
It's sales. Right?
And if you're in a relationship, you're selling yourself to them. Precisely.
So that's all just influence and the psychology of influence and persuasion, right?
Absolutely.
So one of the questions that came across social media was, does this hypnotherapy stick? Right. So if we're going to influence ourselves, if we're going to persuade ourselves to be successful, to go through the ups and downs, or program ourselves, if you will, to have a successful negotiation in a sales environment, or any kind of leadership role or whatsoever. So we've done that, or we've worked with someone like you. Does it stick? I mean, is it permanent?
Okay, and again, I'm going to give you the Dr. Steve G. Jones answer from my academic training, which is that it's multifactorial. It really depends on the individual, the hypnotherapist, what you're working on, what their preconceived notions were. I like what Tony Robbins says, because he kind of equates hypnotherapy to tuning a piano, and he says, every now and then, if you're playing the piano often enough, you've got to retune it. You've got to have someone come in and make sure it's still playing, make sure E is still E and E minor is still E minor. That happens in some cases. You need a little booster every now and then. That's why a recording is great, because if you start to slump a little bit, you can get your confidence back, or whatever it is you're working on, when you need it. So you don't have to, like initially when I have someone listen to a hypnosis recording, I like to have them listen to it for 21 nights in a row. But after that, it's not necessary. Is 21
the magic number? I hear that number a lot. Is 21 the magic number?
We do, and it's not, as far as I can tell from the research, it's not written in stone, but it seems to be a good enough guess at the average
to
number
create a new habit.
Right, exactly.
So if 21's good, 30 must be better.
Well, yeah, 30 is kind of overkill. You don't need to do it, because then
I don't need to be that good.
Well, you become dependent upon.
I want to be good, but not quite that good. All right, go ahead.
You don't want to feel that you're dependent upon anything like that. So you want to use it and get rid of it as soon as possible. Just realize it's in your subconscious mind, because it can become a crutch at that point. So you bring it back if you need it. Maybe 6 months out, you start to slump a little bit. Just listen to a recording for 3 nights in a row as a kind of a booster shot. But our studies for smokers, for example, we studied them 6 months out and a year out by follow-up survey, and we found that over 98% of them are still non-smokers. And that's an easy one to quantify. It's either yes, you're smoking, no, you're not. So we know from that hypnotherapy has a high degree of longevity.
In the world of smoking?
Yes, which is very, very challenging when you think about it.
Okay.
To get someone to stop smoking.
All right, great. So just out of curiosity, what other areas in life, we'll just step outside the business world here for 30 seconds.
Okay.
What other areas of life do you find this science of influence and the science of hypnotherapy really, really beneficial? You said smoking.
Right.
I can clearly see that. You said weight loss earlier.
Yep.
I can clearly see that. Any other areas that just really stand out as highly succcell and beneficial?
Okay, anything in which the subconscious mind is involved. So fear of flying is a big one. People
Really?
are afraid. Yeah, I myself, after 9/11, I didn't fly for a year until I made a hypnosis recording for myself. And then I started offering it to other people because they wanted it. So certain things can really influence you, and you've got to undo them. It's things like nail biting, things like getting better grades, having a better memory, just being more confident in general, believing in the concept of abundance, which is just you taking advantage of opportunities that already present themselves, but realizing that you're worthy of doing that. So it has a lot of applications. And the other stuff we talked about, the influencing, helps in office settings. You know, I need to establish rapport with clients. I've got a very small amount of time to do that, usually an hour or less. So I can use some of my techniques for their benefit to establish rapport so that they are comfortable working with me.
When you talk about something like improving memory, what if the memory loss is due to something physical like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's?
Okay.
Or a car wreck or something.
Yeah.
Right. If we've got a physiological component to it, oftentimes it's psychosomatic. In fact, I was talking to a doctor at Cedars-Sinai about a week ago, and he said that through giving a lady truth serum and getting her to talk about experiences in her past, they were able to actually relieve multiple sclerosis. She had all the symptoms of that,
Wow.
and they were gone. The papers touted it as something that was part of therapy, but actually it was based on this. So you can do a lot. However, when it has a physiological component to it, I would talk to a medical doctor. I always like to have the blessing of a medical doctor, the signed consent before I work with any patient in a realm like that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I want to make sure that our audience knows how they can get more resources from you. I think that's the only fair and equitable thing to do here. So you can go to stevegjones.com.
Yes.
And it's a fascinating website with thousands of resources.
9,000.
Audio recordings.
9,000 recordings.
Reports. How many books? 25 books you've written or something
yes.
like that?
And
Okay.
still writing. We've got a free recording for you, free recording on building wealth and believing your wealth opportunities when you go to the website and sign up.
Great. Okay, so that's stevegjones.com. Go there and you can see more of Steve's work. And so now we're going to go to a segment that I call I'm Sexy and I Know It.
Whoa. I'm sexy and I know it. I'm sexy and I know it.
All right, this is a segment I call I'm Sexy and I Know It, and I discuss people in the world, people in the news who are sexy and they know it. And so this week, since I'm a really big golf fan, I'm following the Masters golf tournament religiously. I have it streaming on my computer. I have it on the TV. I'm listening to it all day long. And there are some Masters players who are sexy and they know it. Fred Couples, 53 years old. He fired a 4 under par yesterday at the Masters. 53 years old. He's playing in a game with a bunch of 30 and 35-year-olds. He's sexy and he knows it.
That 53 is not old.
Of course not. Of course not. 53 is the prime age.
Exactly.
Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is sexy and he knows it.
Uh-oh. Controversy.
Tiger always has been sexy and knew it.
right.
Knew it.
You may have known it too well.
Tiger Woods
Exactly.
because he's in the best position he's been in years to win his 5th green jacket. And he's also sexy and he knows it for saying in his latest Nike ad, winning takes care of everything. Man, people just forgive the guy, right? When he wins,
Nike hired him
when
again?
he wins a few tournaments,
Yeah,
right?
I didn't know
He's
that.
a good golfer. Right?
And then finally from
Give
the
him that.
Masters tournament, the Master player that's sexy. He doesn't know he's sexy yet, but he's gonna be sexy real soon.
You predicted it.
And that is Guan Tianlang from China. 14 years old. He's in the 8th grade, and I haven't checked the update here during the show, but he stands to make the cut. He shot a 73 yesterday, the youngest player ever to play in the Masters golf tournament. So I suspect that one day he's going to be really, really sexy, and he knows it. Who else is sexy and they know it? The Rolling Stones. They're sexy and they know it because they're set out on a new concert tour. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards are 69 years old.
Wow.
69 years old. They sexy and they know it.
But they have a young mindset. That's how they can do that.
That's because they probably programmed themselves with
They
pre-recorded.
probably did. Yeah.
You know, I heard that Tiger Woods' father, allegedly, Tiger Woods' father took him to a hypnotherapist early on.
I wouldn't doubt it at all. Yeah. Right. So I've read too that he's heavy into meditation and that kind of thing. So of course that's all just programming in a concentrated way.
It's a mind game.
And finally, this last story is just so fascinating, and this is a story of a woman from Michigan.
Here I am on the road again. There I am up on the stage.
Evie Brannon was in a coma for 5 years. When she came out of the coma, in June of 2011. She threw her hands up in the air and she says, the first thing she said when she came out of the coma is, I want to go see a Bob Seger concert. So yesterday, she attended a Bob Seger concert and she met Bob Seger. After being in a coma for 5 years, first thing she said is that she wants to go see a Bob Seger concert. So 79 years old,
Wow.
Debbie Brannon.
Welcome back.
Congratulations. Welcome back.
Yeah.
She's sexy and she knows
Absolutely.
it, right? All right. So that's our segment on Sexy and I Know It. So I want to also thank Steve Jones here, Steve G. Jones. Go to stevegjones.com and check out his resources. You've been a wealth of information. Will you come back again?
Absolutely, Paul.
Great. I think this is a good subject for our listeners. And our guest co-host, Heather Vale Goss, thank you very much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah. And so this show, we covered sales, motivation. We covered who's lying to you and who's not.
I like it.
And remember, you can get the replay at paulmontalongolive.com. There'll be resources for you from today's show there. And we will see you again next week on the Paul Montalongo Get a Grip Radio, business radio show. Paul Montalongo Get a Grip Business Radio. Take great care.